Welcome to the Community InRoads show, spotlighting the many treasures found in Greater Lawrence and Haverhill. With us today, we have a very special guest from the award-winning nonprofit Act Lawrence. My name is Joan Kulash, and I'm going to be your host today. Welcome, Anna. I'm so glad that I finally got you on the show. Every time I speak to you about coming with us, you're running here and running there, so I was finally able to grab you. And what I'd love to do, just to begin with, is just talk a little bit about Act Lawrence, how it got started, and every time I introduce you, I'm always saying, but tell people the full story. Tell me how you got started, and when you were just a little bug, when you were a little kid, and what really drove you to get this organization up and running.
Thank you. Well, thank you, John, for inviting me to come to this show. It's an honor to be here. I guess what I want to highlight about Act Lawrence is that it began with people. It began because of people. And we wanted to help the community in many different ways. As you mentioned, I was very young and I was looking for ways to help my community. But back in 1996, the neighborhood in Lawrence called the Arlington neighborhood was suffering through a lot of different issues, including people were losing their jobs because there was a fire with the Malden Mills, which was one of our largest job or places to work for. And then we also had some floods in the neighborhood. So there was a lot of issues that made people worry. We called several meetings in the neighborhood, and before you know it, we're setting up a committee to discuss further how can we bring more attention to help the neighborhood itself. Lo and behold, here we go. I show up to a meeting.
How old?
I was 21, I think. I show up to a meeting and I'm thinking I'm just there to translate because I figured that was the way I was going to help the people, especially the people that were affected by the floods and were basically homeless at the time. So we show up, we translate, we do everything we got to do, but later we realized there's got to be more we can do after this. We formed the committee, we started doing the assignments of who's going to do what, secretary, different positions on the committee, and I ended up becoming the secretary of the committee. A couple of years passed by after doing different neighborhood planning, conversations with the people. We went door knocking. We asked everybody to give us their opinions on how to improve the neighborhood. And we quickly learned that in order to do all the things the neighborhood needed, we needed more power. We needed a larger type of organization that can respond to some of those needs. So we created, we went from a neighborhood association to become a nonprofit community development corporation. And I basically volunteered for over 10 years until after serving on the board of directors as president, then I became the executive director, and I've been there for 21 years or so, well, 23.
And you didn't mention this, but I'm going to, because Lawrence oftentimes has such a negative connotation.
Yes.
And there are a lot of things that people are struggling with. Mm-hmm. And certainly that Arlington neighborhood was one that was struggling with poverty, and
yes.
with poverty comes all kinds of other challenges.
Yes.
And so people read in the newspaper a comment, and I think you can mention.
It was definitely a comment that boiled my blood, pretty much.
Yes.
I was so upset when I read the paper that one of the solutions the newspaper offered to my neighborhood, which I was living at, was to raise the neighborhood, just destroy it and sell it over to any investors who wanted to build other properties on it. And I was very offended by it, and that basically pushed me to work very hard to stop that. And literally we did.
Literally you did.
We did. So we formed the organization, and we engaged a lot of different politicians at the time who can help us share our voice and share our concerns to make sure that they wouldn't do that, because we really thought they were going to come with bulldozers and just get rid of the neighborhood and make it all empty lots to be sold to the biggest bidder.
Right.
So we were very successful within 2 years to basically stop that.
And again, this was Anna Luna, at that point in time, very quiet woman,
very shy.
very shy young woman. But
Yes.
what that did was it helped you certainly to find your leadership role. You went on to, from being a 21-year-old quiet woman to, let's see, you went to school for...
I went to school for several things,
Yep.
but there was a point during all of this volunteering for the organization. I was working full time and also went to college to get my bachelor's. And
where was that?
I went to Emerson College.
Yep.
And then after Emerson, I went to Tufts University, where I got my master's in public policy. So one thing leads to the other, but it all connects because doing all this work, I found my passion to help the community. Yeah.
And one thing that I need to emphasize to people who are watching this show is the strength and the leadership, talent, and love of community.
Yeah.
In Lawrence, and people who do want to step up, and a community that comes together to make inroads
Right.
To social justice.
Definitely, and I definitely did not do this by myself. There was a lot of people that were original founders as well. They've all moved on to other things. In fact, most of them don't even live in the state anymore. But I stuck around. For some reason, I knew I had to stay and make the dreams that we had made those plans for become a reality.
Right.
And this is how we started doing all this type of work in helping the youth, helping the parents, helping the community do different projects to beautify the neighborhood and to develop programs and services that help everybody get better in whatever they're trying to do.
Again, a community come together to make inroads towards social justice,
Yes.
right?
Exactly.
And that is actually watching you and many of the other nonprofits in Lawrence inspired us to change our name to Community InRoads.
Yes.
And what we do is we work with powerful organizations like yours to make sure that you have the resources that you may not have all the time to help you to make those inroads towards social justice.
Right.
So what we do is, if a nonprofit like yours needs a little bit of back office assistance in some way, shape, or form, that we will bring in a volunteer to just help on a short-term project to work along with you. So our volunteers are people who infuse themselves temporarily in the nonprofit to work along with the nonprofit to help them to sustain their mission, to make inroads towards social justice. So I'm just wondering if you might just share very briefly a few of the things that Community InRoads volunteers have done to work along with you, and very proudly work along with you.
Definitely.
It's a total honor to be a partner of yours.
I know the most recent volunteer we had was Donna Aldrich, and she helped us do our work with our board of directors and our volunteers to develop our elevator pitch.
Yep.
That helped us a lot in redefining the way we speak about the organization, because we discovered that we were having a hard time marketing the organization, and it was because we were using different language every time we spoke with someone. And with the help from Donna, we basically settled on making sure people understood that ACT Lawrence is a Latina-led nonprofit organization that empowers people to achieve their financial goals and dreams. And for us, that was very eye-opening because it helped us define our work in a very easy-to-say short sentence. And I was very happy when we came to that conclusion as a board, and always very thankful that Donna was able to help us. Community InRoads also helped us with more work to do training for the board and decide on the different things that the board can focus on over a period of a year. And we worked with Angie and Maria to do the board roles and board goals program. And basically they worked with us for about a year, making sure that we create a cohesiveness within the board of directors so that we can continue functioning as a board over the long term. And then the other one that's memorable, of course, as a nonprofit organization, our finances have to be in order. And we got Philomena to help us reorganize our QuickBooks and find quick ways to report the expenses and the income and the grants and the donations that we receive, so that we can be accountable to the community and have good ways to give them reports on what we do with the donations that we receive.
And I have to say, the volunteers come to help, certainly, but oftentimes they walk away feeling as though they've gotten even more out of it.
Yes.
And I know Phil, Angie, Maria, Donna, you know, they walk away understanding better what your organization is about, and understanding the power in the community, and really having a deepened respect for the people in Lawrence, and certainly all that you do. You know, if somebody were to listen, and we're going to a little bit about some of your programs, if they were to visit your office, they'd be expecting a big office with all these employees there, because how do you do all that you do on such a short, small number of staff? How many people do you have?
We are 4.
You are 4.
And a lot of people think we're 30.
Yeah.
So that's a compliment to my staff.
Exactly.
Because definitely they do a lot. They do a great job managing the volunteers we have to make sure we achieve the different goals that we set every year.
And you have a little video, I think, that you are sharing with us. So maybe, guys, we can watch that video, and that'll even infuse a little bit more life into the story of ACT Lawrence. ACT Lawrence? No, ACT Lawrence.
ACT, yes.
Okay. So who put that together for you, by the way?
Believe it or not, that was one of your volunteers.
Oh, that was one of our volunteers. Who was it?
Well, he's one of the ones you helped us get as a board member, and that was Carlos Gabriel.
Oh, Carlos, of
Yes,
course.
yes, he was phenomenal.
I didn't know that he did that. I'm going to have to get. He's now moved out of state.
That's right.
Yeah, we didn't want him to move.
I know, but he did.
was doing quite a job. So yeah, through our cultural inclusion program, where we train people in the community, particularly Latinos, who have the professional acumen to be boards, but just need to learn what it means to be on a board, and then we help place. And Carlos was certainly one of those gangbusters who got on your board and then had a calling out of state, and so we finally lost.
But he was very helpful while he was on our board. He helped us do that promo video because we always felt we needed a type of promo video. And it was excellent. We couldn't believe how quickly he put that together.
I didn't know he had that skill.
Well, some people have hidden talents.
Yeah, right? Very humble guy.
Very humble guy, yeah. So it was great. We use that promo every so often, and we're proud to show it here. As you can see, it does have our old address, but this picture right here is in the new location that we just moved.
Oh, nice. And Anna Medina, Maria Medina.
She went through.
She went through the program too, cultural inclusion.
Yes. So now we moved to 15 Union Street at the Everett Mills. And we're there on the 4th floor. Very comfortable office, nice and well lit. Very comfortable, and we're very happy to be able to have more space to provide our workshops now in-house. That's one of the best things about having more space now, so that we can teach our classes right on location.
So you have many, many different programs that you're doing with ACT Lawrence, but since we don't have as much time as we'd like, can we focus in on the youth program and what you do with the youth?
Yes.
And then I'm going to ask you about one other afterwards. If you
Definitely. So I just love the youth program because it is one of those programs that we started because the community wanted it, and we figured out a way to provide that service. Our youth leadership program provides the first jobs to youth ages 14 to 22 years old. They are paid positions, and they work for a period of 6 weeks during the summer, starting in July and ending in the middle of August. They work about 20 hours a week in our office. They learn all kinds of skills, from how to answer the phone, how to be engaged in the community, how to do some community organizing, fundraising, do community events, neighborhood cleanups, public speaking, leadership in general. And they have a ton of fun during those 6 weeks at the same time that they are learning different skills that currently they're not learning in school.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so do you do a lot of the training with the kids, or who
No,
does the
so
training?
that's another way that we engage our volunteers.
Okay.
So different professionals that have different skills come in and present at those particular workshops. So for example, we have the great support from our own state rep, Frank Moran, who comes in and gives them a civic engagement presentation.
Excellent.
And how is it that policy and bills are passed at the state legislature. So they learn about the process, and they also learn about how important it is for them to go to city council and speak about the different things that are happening in the city and give their voice.
So do they actually then, some of them go to city council
They
meeting?
don't go to city council,
Okay.
but we take them to the state house so they
Okay.
can actually see how things are done.
Oh, so like
Yeah.
right to the top.
We take them all the way there.
No,
yes.
that's phenomenal. And
Yeah.
what kind of jobs have they been placed in?
Well, that's the thing. Right now, the program doesn't work that we place them in a particular job. They literally work in our office doing
Okay.
different projects.
Even better.
One of the projects they do is cleaning up a neighborhood park that we have. Is called the Cronin Park, and that picture is actually at the park. They also
They are having fun.
Yep.
Look at this.
So not only they do the cleanup to set up the park for the National Night Out event, but they also practice the skills they learned about community organizing and neighborhood engagement by running that event themselves, which happens on August, the first week of August of every year. And usually that event attracts about 200 people, where they're engaged in the community, and they go door knocking, they invite the neighbors door to door, they drop off the flyers, they also do fundraising to buy the food that we provide at the event.
Wow.
And it's amazing, they even hire a DJ, so there's even dancing in the middle of the park. So they always find creative ways to not only engage the community, but also make it fun for everybody so that it could be a great community event. I don't know if you know a little bit of the story on National Night Out, but this happens in the whole country on the same night.
That's what I was going to say. So it's not
Yeah.
just an Act Lawrence event.
Correct.
But you guys get the community engaged to
Yes.
say, hey guys, come on out
Yes.
and be a community.
Exactly.
Yep.
So we get a visit or a drop-in from all the emergency respondents, and the police, the ambulance, the fire department. Everybody comes in with the motorcade, and that is an amazing thing when they come, because they are the ones that get more people even to show up to the event because they hear the commotion.
Yep.
They come down, sounding the alarms and everything, and then the kids can enjoy going into the fire truck, and they go into the car and they see and talk to the policemen and all the emergency people that show up to the event. And then they go to the next neighborhood throughout the city of Lawrence, because there are about 6 or 8 other neighborhood associations who also do a similar event in
Okay.
their neighborhoods.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And that's pretty much how it's modeled
Yep.
throughout the country. Every neighborhood does a similar event to attract their own neighbors so they can have quiet conversations with the different people who support public safety in the community.
Well, I mean, just the notion also of getting like the police there and the
Yeah.
firemen. It's like it's not like, oh, that's the police, the other.
Yes.
It's like the police are part of our community, and they're here to work with us rather than to be afraid of them.
Right.
That they're there as friends and
Correct.
community members, as well as the police and
Yeah.
so on.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly what happens. New relationships are formed
Yeah.
during that event, and especially with the youth. Actually, one of the speakers at the youth program is also somebody from the police department. so that they know where to call if they have an issue to report. They can stay anonymous. They learn different things that they probably had in their mind as a myth about the police department or working with the police, and those questions are answered precisely from somebody in the police department.
And and I might also add that, I don't know if it's the case, but I would assume that the myth of the youth sometimes being kids to be just troubled kids and stay away from them.
No.
It's like they begin to
Look at those faces.
Yeah.
Those are not troublemakers.
Right. I mean, it's so you begin to look at the youth as not the enemy either.
Correct.
That it again, it's the forming of community, and community is an overused word until you really get what it means. And this is you can look at the picture of what community is and what community feels like, and sometimes you really can't explain it with words, but you can see it and you can feel it. You can feel the energy in the room or outside as to what community means. People being together, working together, playing together, having one another's back.
Yeah, I know. And look, we usually start out with the youth program. Actually, by the way, anybody who's interested in applying for the program, the requirements are that they have to live in Lawrence and they have to be ages 14 to 22 years old. The applications open on June 1st and it will be posted on our Facebook page. So just look up Act Lawrence at Facebook and you'll access it because it's a public Facebook page, and the link to apply will be listed right there. But this is our most recent graduating class. I think we had 28 that graduated. We always have more that apply, and we can only accept about 30 of them into the program.
How many normally apply?
About 80 to 100.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yes, it's very stressful. It's not easy to choose.
Who makes the decision?
We do interviews, so they have to go to
we?
2 different sets of interviews. So we have one staff member who you probably saw in one of the other pictures, Natalie, who is the office manager and also the coordinator for the youth program. And she's in charge of accepting all those applications, going through them, and then inviting them to do 2 different sets of interviews so that we can select the basic people who get accepted into the program. Yeah.
That must be tough.
It is.
Very tough.
It is. And then basically the program runs throughout the summer, and they stay pretty engaged even after they finish. Usually they are the ones that end up volunteering at the annual meeting to support the next group of people that we always help throughout the year.
Future board members.
That's what we're working on.
So
we're working on bringing some of those in.
We may be getting some of them to participate in cultural inclusion when they get a little older, right?
That would be excellent.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Do you mind talking about one other program which is the Financial Capability Program?
Yes. So that program is a set of different services that we provide as a financial capability program. That the best way I can describe it would be to say that we provide a circle of services to the people we support, that we call clients, so that they can achieve their financial goals and dreams. We do that by providing things like home buyer education, credit repair, credit counseling, budget preparation, like teaching people how to do their own budget, how to manage that budget if they don't know how. Also making an action plan so that they can achieve whatever financial goal they want to do. Landlord and tenant relationship workshops so that they learned either how to be a good tenant or how to be a good landlord. Because that's important. If you're thinking of purchasing a house, you gotta know the rules so that you stay on track. So that is a very popular workshop that we provide. And of course, the one-on-one individual counseling on any of the topics that we provide is given to the clients completely free. And every year we help about 500 people to access all of these services.
And you had one workshop at one point in time, you may still be doing it with the foreclosures, when remember there was that whole big problem.
Well,
with
thank
the
God.
Wave of foreclosures.
Thank God we don't
Not
have
needed.
to do those workshops. But we do support people who are at risk of foreclosure with individual counseling. If they go to our office and they express that they need help with that, we provide the counseling to help them renegotiate their mortgage so that they can pay less for their mortgage as long as they qualify.
I mean, really, thank God for resources like you in the community. It's like people that have the stuff, but they just need, in particular,
you need support,
right? And especially if you're somebody who's just come in from another country, you know, just how do we negotiate this sometimes new culture and new set of guidelines? So.
Right. What I see most are people who they may already have the ability to do certain things, like how to do your budget, you know, how to have a bank account. But what happens sometimes is we get overwhelmed, because talking about finances is not easy, but it is very, very important. And we are the ones encouraging these people, these clients, to make sure that they follow through. When they come for counseling, we make sure we give them in writing any steps they need to follow and a timeline when they need to follow that step in order to achieve that goal. The most frequent one is to achieve a savings by the end of a certain time. For example, they want to save $1,000 in 1 year. So we break it down into small pieces so they can reach that goal
and
a little bit
as
at a
they're
time.
Progressing, right?
Exactly. So then there's a point where they come in to check in with their counselor, and we follow through, we check in, then they get more steps, and we go adjusting depending on the client, because what we do is to help whatever the client needs to achieve that financial goal. That was a simple example, but the next thing we do that is very common counseling is the Homebuyer Counseling. So that if you want to buy a house, you learn all the steps you got to follow, the people you got to work with, the experts you got to contact, and what are the banks requiring you to do in order to buy that home. So we do all of that and more.
With your large staff,
exactly,
of
course, yes.
And a lot of what you're saying you've been doing for a long time, since I've been involved with you, which is 13 years, 12, 13
At
years.
least,
And there was one program that just recently started that I'm going to have to mention.
Of course, because,
and that's through Merrimack College.
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Definitely, and thank you so much again for Merrimack College for being supportive of our work. We have a phenomenal board member, Ana Silva, and
yay, Ana, are you listening?
So she has been tremendous in making sure that we have a collaboration with Merrimack so that they do certain things in the financial capability program, and we do certain things. And one of the ways Merrimack worked with us is creating a synergy so that we both do different things at different times. A lot of moving pieces in the program, and this particular program is called Financial Capability Series. That's the program that we provide our clients access to a 3-month engagement with getting a coach, getting counseling, and getting workshops at the same time. So Merrimack is in charge of training over 20 coaches so that they can be the coaches to ACT clients.
And they're students, the coaches.
Correct.
Right?
That is another thing that is very key. So Merrimack College students are in charge of guiding the clients to achieve the goals they set at the beginning of the program. Then on the second workshop, we provide credit, how to build your credit if you don't have it, or how to fix your credit if you have it and it needs to get better. And that workshop is one of my favorites, because we invite also credit experts who come in and now support the client in that circle that I talked to you about before, where at the table we have the student from Merrimack being the coach, one of our staff being a translator, then we have a credit expert, we have the client, and sometimes we even have other people who can help that client talk about how they achieve their goal. So it's very intricate what happens. And then the last part of the series is graduation, and we talk about protecting investments and protecting their identity so that it is not stolen. As you know, identity theft is one of the major things that is happening in the whole country. and we provide a lot of education and tips so that people know how to protect their information from being stolen. And it's amazing to see that we end up with a big group of anywhere from 30 graduates to complete the program in that month.
Yeah.
And then after they finish, they continue with ACT Lawrence to do more individual counseling if they need it.
You know, one of the things going back to the students at Merrimack,
Yep.
working with some of your clients,
Yeah.
it's bringing the Lawrence community and maybe people who aren't from Lawrence together.
Yes.
So it's, yes, the Merrimack students are helpers, but they're also learning because they're beginning to understand the lives and challenges that
Yeah.
people are having that they may not have, and to
Right.
begin to really respect and form a relationship, that it's not just that they're helpers, but
That's
they're
correct.
part of a larger community.
That is correct. In fact, I know for sure one of the training that Merrimack offers the students is something about, I don't know what they call the workshop, but the students themselves do a workshop on cultural sensitivity.
Yeah.
So that when they go meet our clients, they understand that they're not there to judge, they're there to help each other. And the same thing with the clients, they know that they can rely on this person and they can build trust
And build trust.
so that they can achieve the goal they're
So
trying
it's
to
not
do.
just a matter of Lawrence, you know, that there's the border between Lawrence and, let's say, North Andover, or,
Right.
you know, it's like we become a larger we.
That is correct.
It's like we become not just the Arlington neighborhood we,
Right.
but and not just the Lawrence
Yep,
neighborhood.
it's people
but
we.
the we.
Yes.
We won't use that term. That's a bad byline, I guess. But
Right.
I think that whole thing about having the students, you know, working together with your clients is a very important thing. It may not have been the initial goal of the program, but it's an important sidebar.
It is definitely an important goal.
And so
Yeah.
I'm going to have to just throw this in,
Yeah.
but so the person from Merrimack who started this financial partnership series
Yes.
with Merrimack and ACT Lawrence is Anna Silva. Again, we should have had a big picture of that. Look who's
She's
there in
right
the
there.
middle. Where is she?
In the orange shirt right here.
Where?
Right here in this.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah,
Look at
she's
that
right
face
there.
of her, right on the bottom, looking
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So she is a professor. She looks like she's about 12 in this picture.
Yeah, she looks
she's
younger
a
there, yeah.
professor at Merrimack College, and she's
Yeah.
also a graduate of our cultural inclusion program.
Yes.
But she immediately wanted to be on ACT Lawrence's board, and within a few months, she became the chair,
Yeah.
and then started this partnership with Merrimack College.
That's
So
correct, yeah.
It's the ripple effect.
It was one of those other great matches that Community InRoads has done with us, because we've been working with you for so long, that it's like 13 years,
Yeah.
I think. And we definitely have seen the benefit of working with you. And thank you again, because we need this type of connections in order to continue growing the organization.
And to us, it's been a total honor. And again, you know, here's another example with Anna. It's just like it's meant the world to her too. That she's been doing this for years.
That's
very
right.
very busy schedule, but it means something to her too.
That's how it is. When you match a person that they have the right skills, but at the same time they have the passion for it, that's a winning solution.
Yeah, it's a winning in so many ways. You have another video. It's predominantly in Spanish,
Yes,
but I think that
yes.
we should watch it. And then for those people who do not speak Spanish, you can.
Yes,
do
I
a
can
little
quickly
translate.
give you the gist of it
Okay.
in translation.
So can we see that video?
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Marta Rivero. Estoy muy agradecida del programa de ICT en Lore porque me ha dado la oportunidad de comprar mi casa, recibir guía financiera y consejería y más que todo la oportunidad de conocer la comunidad de la Arlington. Los invito a todos para que se envuelvan en este programa para que reciban los mismos beneficios que yo. Muchísimas gracias.
Hola, mi nombre es Daisy Romero, soy voluntaria activamente de ICT. Este programa me ha ayudado grandemente a salir adelante con sus diferentes programas. En mi caso personal, con el programa de crédito, he aumentado el porcentaje del mismo y a través de este voy a lograr mi sueño, que es comprar mi casa. Le exhorto a toda la comunidad que busque información de ICT para que se puedan beneficiar del mismo.
Well, as you saw, that was one of the best ways we can show the impact of our work with having two testimonials. The first one was Marta Peguero, who we helped with financial education and also the home buyer workshops. And within a few months, she was able to purchase her first house. And she loved it because she was able to not only learn from the program, but also achieve her goal as quickly as possible to buy her house. And she was very happy. And the next one was Daisy. She came to us because she wanted to build her credit because she's planning to buy a house. So what she was saying is that she was so happy that quickly she was able to not only improve her credit, but now be closer to her dream of buying a house as well. And she was asking people that if you are thinking of doing any of these things, to consider Act Lawrence to come and support your goals and dreams.
And so, you know, how can people who are listening to this show now, who understand how important you are to helping to create a larger we, helping people in the community to lead full lives. You have 4 staff doing a Herculean task and doing it very effectively and changing lives and creating community. And you do that because they are very committed staff members, but in order to continue doing what you're doing and even having an even bigger impact by hopefully hiring more people, how can people contribute financially to Act Lawrence in order to keep this going?
It's very easy. You can go to our website, actlawrence.org, and you can also make a phone call, 978-685-6274. You can also find us on Facebook, and right there you can also make a link to a place where you can make a donation. But right on our website, it's got a button. You just click on that button and make your donation.
And the button must say donate.
It does. It says donate.
Yeah.
But what we want from you, we want several things. Your commitment to the organization. Thank you so much if you donate. But also if you are thinking of being a volunteer, there's many ways you can help us by donating your time, your treasure, or your talent. Those are the 3 things we want from anybody who wants to support our work. And we welcome anyone who wants to help us in any of those ways.
Anything else you want to tell people before we sign off?
Sure. Just remember the youth program jobs are opening up in June 1st. Go to our website or our Facebook page to apply. We are also looking to hire 1 more staff member, and it will be a financial counselor / housing counselor. And this position is going to be opening in May. So for that, you contact me via email. You can send your information to apply for the position, and we can chat about if it's a good match. And also keep us in mind for any of the programs and services that you may need. Feel free to contact us at the office. We're normally open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then on Fridays we're open half a day, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. On the weekends we teach. So we're not in the office, but we provide the different workshops and services that we bring to the community.
Anna, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you, everybody, for coming and listening to yet one other treasure of the many treasures in Greater Lawrence. If you are interested in volunteering with Community InRoads to utilize your professional expertise to help nonprofits like Act Lawrence and Anna Luna and the community that she serves, please do give us a buzz as well. My name is Joan Kulash. Once again, give us a call, 978-604-8803, and we look forward to seeing you again to share some more of the wonderful talents in Greater Lawrence. See you soon.